Look, it seems like we're showing no signs of slowing down when it comes to reboots, soft reboots, remakes, and sequels. And today's topic, franchises that just won't die. And I know a lot of people who would love to see those franchises just dead. You know what I mean? Just left for dead. You know, franchises like Terminator, Charlie's Angels. I mean, whose idea was that? What else? Man in Black, you know, Jurassic Park, and many more. Which leads me to today's franchise, which is the anomaly I like to call the Ghostbusters franchise.
Thank you. We got one!
Now, the reason why I call Ghostbusters an anomaly is because this movie has done what no other movie has ever done in the history of movies before. This movie had a reboot as well as a sequel to its original in less than 6 years. Remember when everybody went crazy when they rebooted Spider-Man and they swapped Tobey Maguire for Andrew Garfield? Everybody got mad.
No, this is where you zip it, all right? The adult is talking.
And then again, years later, they rebooted it again with Tom Holland.
Hey everyone.
Well, imagine that this time it was Tobey Maguire coming back to do a part 4 for Spider-Man. That's exactly what happened with Ghostbusters. But then again, when you think about it, if you make a mistake, you must rectify it. No? So you see, franchises like Star Wars, Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park, those franchises can't really die. And it's not because the studio is out there to make a ton of cash, which obviously is the primary objective, but also because the fan just won't let them die. It just won't happen. Look, there's a Boba Fett show that's out right now. And I don't need to remind you that this guy had only 4 lines in the original Star Wars.
As you wish. He's no good to me dead. What if he doesn't survive? Put Captain Solo in the cargo hold.
Look at another one, Darth Maul. The fan made Darth Maul. As a matter of fact, both of them, Darth Maul and Boba Fett, both died in their original movies. And the fan brought them back to life. Literally, like Jesus and Lazarus. You see, the thing about people, right? Or should I say the fans, right? Is once they consume the material and run with it, that's it. At that point, the limits are non-existent. The cosplay, the fan art, the fan-made movies, the comic books, the conventions, the reenactions, the tattoos, the weddings, the protests, the parodies. Look, everything goes once the fan get hold of the material that they like.
The misty-eyed, teary-eyed view of nostalgia doesn't work in the Ghostbusters universe because it's a flat, sarcastic comedy. There's no magic. There's literally no magic. There's no emotional resonance from the first Ghostbusters movie whatsoever.
No, because that's not what that movie was.
It's almost like you're taken out of the movie, like I could see getting emotional, like if there was like a Ghostbusters reunion, you know, with all the actors. They're talking about how much fun they had making the movie. That's what this feels like. It feels like you're outside of the movie, like looking in.
You're looking at this wrong.
Look, you see, it doesn't matter what the creator had intended for the character or for the movie. Once the fan get hold of it, they're gonna make of it what they want. You can't dictate how art is gonna affect somebody. I mean, look at The Matrix. That movie had everybody wanting to unplug. Everybody was talking about consciousness and the mind after watching The Matrix. Everybody and their mama, every conspiracy theorist still today is caught in The Matrix. And you see, everybody has their own interpretation of the movie. If you was to take 3 people and ask them individually what is the original Matrix about, I bet you all 3 of them will give you their own interpretation about the movie. And talking about The Matrix, I think it's gotta be in the list of franchises we gotta leave for dead. I'm just saying. So now I got a question. Is fan service bad? And first of all, what is fan service? So fan service was actually first quoted in the anime and manga community. And in the anime and manga community, when you mention fan service, what you're talking about is nudity or sexual content. So what do they mean by fan service? Well, I don't know if you watch anime. I do. So you know exactly what we're talking about when we say fan service. But for the people who don't, is basically you watching a regular anime and there's a regular story. And out of nowhere, there's gotta be some boobs and maybe some ass. So basically what we mean is unnecessary sexual content, but it's fan service. It's what's gonna grab the fans, I guess. But today, due to reboots, soft reboots, remakes, and sequels or whatever, when you say fan service, what you're really saying is a particular piece of material in your film or any work of fiction where that particular thing is only added there for the fans. So basically, the way I like to describe it is, if you're not familiar with that particular content, when that particular fan service appears on the screen, you won't give a fuck. Basically, it's unnecessary in some ways. But the fans love it. That's why they're there. But if you're not familiar with the content, fan service is just unnecessary. So the question is fan service bad?
Ghostbusters Afterlife is the latest entry in our continuing collective pop culture equivalent of the Chris Farley Show.
Remember that? Yeah. Remember when you were with the Beatles?
Remember Chris Farley? Do you remember the Ghostbusters? You love Ghostbusters, but more importantly, you love the idea of loving Ghostbusters.
What?
This is exactly The Force Awakens, down to the third act being the exact same fucking thing from the original movie.
Half an hour of this movie was the most sad, pathetic thing I've ever seen.
And that's the thing, is like all the characters fall flat. Except the girl, I guess, the little girl, because she's trying to discover things about her grandfather. And it's...
Baby Yoda was popular. Hey, how about Baby Marshmallow Man? We could sell a ton of those.
People talking about this movie, even like the filmmakers were like, this is made for the fans. This is for people that want to go, like this is so far removed tonally from anything Ghostbusters.
I'm thinking of all these like iconic like 80s tech that was always in service of a story and characters, and now it's like the opposite. The characters are in service of the tech.
Yeah.
And
the first time they turn on the proton pack in this, we get like 5 shots, extreme close-ups of it.
They never showed a close-up of the proton pack ever.
Yes, that is indeed a close-up of the proton packs in Ghostbusters 2.
On the table over here.
Don't look at me. I think these people are completely nuts.
Look, Ghostbusters is not just a movie. It's a comic book, it's a cartoon, it's a video game. The proton pack is the Boba Fett of Ghostbusters. They were barely in the original. I think they in like 2 scenes and a montage. You know, they props that are made out of random parts. But to the fans, it's a beauty, a magnificent machine like no other. And of course, it's been imitated many times, but there's nothing, and I say nothing, like the original unlicensed nuclear accelerator. To be honest, it's probably the most iconic movie prop after the lightsaber and maybe the Back to the Future DeLorean.
What nowadays is the new iconic movie thing? I don't know. It was more sad than anything. And you said Ghostbusters. This movie's made for Ghostbusters fans, right?
It's made for adults and little children that the adults try and drag to the movie.
Oh, no, that was another guy. His name was Shit Sherlock. First name, no.
This is a conversation we probably would have been really excited to have about 20 years ago. But now it's like literally a shell of something that only people over 40 remember, and it's now some kind of new, twisted, weird version of itself.
So yes, fan service was needed for this movie. Could the movie had worked with no fan service? I don't know. I don't care. It's irrelevant. The movie we got was full of fan service. The close-up of the proton pack, Egon's collection of fungus, the Ecto 1, the gunner chair, bug-eyed ghost from the cartoon, the fireman Paul. But look, then again, when you think about it, the last Ghostbusters we had was like 31 years ago. So of course 90% of the fans are gonna be in their 30s and 40s. Like,
can you be any dumber? Can I tell you my thought process while the movie was happening live?
No, it wasn't made for him.
And you said Ghostbusters. This movie's made for Ghostbusters fans, right?
It's made for adults and little children that the adults try and drag to the movie.
It wasn't made for him.
I mean, everybody's welcome, right? Everybody's welcome to watch whatever movie they want to watch. But we know who this movie was made for. Do you really need to state the obvious?
It's made for adults and little children that the adults try and drag to the movie.
That's exactly what the studio wants. They want the older guys that grew up watching Ghostbusters to take their kids with them. So hopefully they can get money off their kids like they got money off of us. Makes perfect sense. Y'all talking about it like it's a problem. Do you really think that I don't know, like, kids in 2008 were watching Iron Man or reading Iron Man? Really? Do you think that's what the kids were doing back then? But look at what's going on now with the MCU. Look, let me tell you right now. I've been reading comics all of my life, and I'm gonna tell you now that nobody knew who the fuck Thor was or who Iron Man was back then, because nobody read that shit. Only kids my age back then, and I was already in my 20s. Yes, I'm that old. Only people my age, or maybe a little bit younger, knew who Iron Man was. They knew who Thor was. Even Captain America was damn near an unknown. But you know what happened? The older guys took their kids or little brothers to go see it, and then they became fans of the MCU. Because I could tell you right now, none of these people who watched the MCU, that were brought to the MCU by their older brothers or parents, none of them read comics now. It's not like they went and saw the movie and they think, oh, we're going to read comics now. No, they don't. They just stick to what they know, which is the MCU as they know it now. Just like these kids are going to grow up and Ghostbusters is going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife. It's not going to be the Ghostbusters we grew up with. It's going to be Ghostbusters Afterlife and whatever else comes after that. Just like kids these days don't mind the Star Wars sequels. Okay, let's get back on track. Look, I'm not going to sit here and ignore the fact that, yes, maybe they took it a little too far with the fan service. Like, for example, the fireman's pole in Egon's house. Look, I'm going to say it like this. Ray Stan was crazy about that fireman pole.
Wow, this place is great. When can we move in? You gotta try this pole.
Egon, not so much. He didn't care. So yes, the fireman's pole had no reason to be in the movie, let alone in Egon's house. The crunchy bar, same. Once again, that didn't need to be in the movie. Same thing for Gozer asking Ray the same question. Once again, didn't need to be in the movie. And the Stay Puft Babies, come on now. I gotta agree, they did not need to be in the movie. But there's an exception. The stacked books, that makes perfect sense. Seriously, it makes perfect sense. It's a Gozer thing. Think about it. In part 1, you had Gozer messing around in the city, and you see the stacked books in the library. Now, when you watch this movie in Egon's house, where he was dealing with Gozer, you see stacked books. Think about it. You didn't see no stacked books in Ghostbusters 2. You know why? Because Ghostbusters 2 had nothing to do with Gozer. Gozer equals stacked books. It makes perfect sense to me.
Symmetrical book stacking, just like the Philadelphia Man's Turbulence of 1947.
And also, I'm not gonna sit here and say Ghostbusters Afterlife is a perfect movie. Like, some stuff did not make any sense. Like, Ray should have believed Egon. Matter of fact, they should have both lived in that house to deal with Gozer. Also, at the end, when they all show up with proton packs, didn't make any sense. I thought Egon had all the proton packs. And yes, Jay from RedLetterMedia is totally right. The third act, yes, it's just like The Force Awakens. They rehashing the original.
This is exactly The Force Awakens, down to the third act being the exact same fucking thing from the original movie.
But there's a big difference between Ghostbusters Afterlife and The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens was well received, and The Force Awakens could have stayed that movie that was mediocre only if The Last Jedi was good. You see, The Force Awakens was relying on whatever was coming after it to determine whether it was good or not. The Force Awakens was a very mediocre movie, but a lot of people gave it a chance because of what was to come. But unfortunately, what was to come was The Last Jedi. And that doesn't mean the same thing is gonna happen to Ghostbusters Afterlife. And that's my point. I think Ghostbusters Afterlife is good enough to restart the franchise. Just like when I first watched The Force Awakens, I thought, you know what? It's just okay to restart the franchise. Let's see where they go from here. Because honestly, my rating for Ghostbusters Afterlife is a 6 out of 10. I really want to see what happens next. Ghostbusters Corpse. It's about time we see that. You know, Ghostbusters Atlanta, Ghostbusters New York, Ghostbusters LA. Fuck it, Ghostbusters England. You know what I'm saying? Just work it out. You can have a whole universe using the Ghostbusters. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what else they do with the Ghostbusters. And I heard some people say it's slow, some people say it's not funny, and it's a nostalgia fest, and it's full of fan service, as we discussed, or like Mike says.
But now it's like literally a shell of something that only people over 40 remember, and it's now some kind of new, twisted, weird version of itself that isn't even worth wasting our breath on.
Oh, even worse, Jay says.
Well, that's like I said in the opening. Like, it's not made for Ghostbusters fans. It's made for people that just love to celebrate the fact that they like Ghostbusters.
I'm sorry, what?
It's not made for Ghostbusters fans. It's made for people that just love to celebrate the fact that they like Ghostbusters.
What? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Now, seriously, can anybody tell me what the fuck what? Me personally, like I said, I gave this movie a 6 out of 10. But you see, when it comes to all of these people who did not like this movie because they are a fan of the original, it's totally understanding. Think about it, right? I say movies are like your favorite songs, right? So picture this. Imagine your favorite song, right? Now imagine all of the covers you heard that you hate. Or imagine all of the remixes you heard of your favorite song that you hate, right? Now the thing is, those covers and remakes aren't necessarily that bad. You just hate them because it's not your artist anymore. The song is no longer the way you like it because it's the artist that makes the song. Not just the melodies or the words, but it's actually how the artist puts it together that makes you like the song. That's why it doesn't really matter whoever covers the song. You're not gonna like it. Might be alright, might give it a thumbs up, but you know, you like the original. Which is the reason why 99.9% of remakes just don't work. You know, because it is those artists who made that movie. It's Bill Murray, it's Harold Ramis, it's Ernie Hudson, and you know, those guys made the movies. Those guys are the Ghostbusters. So you can't duplicate that. You just cannot do it. Right now you need to get something new, which is why I don't mind that the new Ghostbusters wasn't funny. I don't mind that Ghostbusters Afterlife had a totally different tone from the rest of the other Ghostbusters. I love that because it's something new now. Something for the little kid. It's for them now. It's something new, totally new. Don't try and get that back. This is what they did. Most of the movie was improv and it was a crazy script and it worked. That's it. You know what I mean? Now it's time for something new. And you just gotta hope that that new thing works. Sometimes it doesn't. Star Wars. Sometimes it does. So with that being said, I really want to see what happens next with this franchise. All right, man, I think we're gonna end it here, and I just want to say, if you've actually stuck with me all the way to now, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. And you know what? Don't be shy, man. Don't be shy. And press that like button and that subscribe button and that share button and that bell button. Like, press them all, man. Damn. All right, thanks for watching. I'm gonna be back next when we're gonna discuss, is nostalgia bait bad? Yes, when it comes to the Matrix, yes, it was bad. Really, really bad.